the Treasury on the need for timely and full release of budgeted funds. I'm wondering, Controlling Officer, there is no proof to show that you are engaging. There is no proof to show that you engaged. And it's so sad that the money meant to help the vulnerable but viable was coming into your office on 29th December 2021, when the season had already taken off. In your response, you are saying you have been engaging in the Treasury. There is no proof to show that you have been engaging. Is there any proof to show you have been engaging?
Thank you, Honorable Mfarari. Honorable Umar, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. PS, your response and your appendix number 1 do not speak to each other. Chair, the funds they are saying they constantly engage the Treasury to release is supposed to be 443,717,225. However, Chair, the appendix number 1 is talking about 670,222,628.41 ngwe. And Chair, I'm wondering why the ministry chose to use appendix number 1 in respect to 443. Maybe the PS has got a better response than the response which she has provided. And also what I want to understand is why from the 4 billion food security pack funds were not released. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed. Even when you look at this funding slip, under head 45, you see the 389. The 670 is for the total. Under 837 and 821. So just mark where there is Ministry of Community Development. Just on that. PS, you can proceed and answer the questions.
Thank you. On the first part, where we say that we are engaging the Treasury, it's actually a continuous process where we are constantly talking to Treasury, whether it be via email, via the phone. And much as, yes, we will not maybe have proof to lay before the committee, but we can actually say that in this current financial year, the situation has been much better. It has improved. I think the Director of Finance will be able to maybe share on the actual position. And then on the attached funding slip, this, yes, we're underfunded 443 million as at the end of 2021. What we received was 389 million on the 29th of December towards that 443 million. So we were not like 100% funded. There was still a shortfall. I submit.
Thank you. PS, just for guidance, this committee works with evidence, documented evidence. I think that's why you hear Honorable Mfarari talking about your correspondence. As and when you make submission before this Honorable Committee, we want to look at evidence which Auditor General can look at and authenticate that yes, there's been communication. So moving forward is important, even as you do your communication, usually with Secretary to Treasury, if you do your correspondence, letters and all that is attached to that effect to ensure that we are convinced beyond reasonable doubt that yes, there's communication, because we are here to also help you. Even as ST appears before this committee to do a Treasury minute, will tell him that you have not funded this ministry well, why? And here are the letters. But minus that, we hear correspondence. There's no evidence to show him to that effect. So I think that's a clarification Honorable Mfarari wanted to get from you as controlling officer of this ministry. Yes, Honorable Mfarari, then Honorable Rumai, proceed in that
Further,
order.
Chair, you know, we are dealing with the vulnerable people here, and they need the defense of this committee. We are saying your ministry was not proactive. This is what we are seeing here, controlling officer. Your director of finance. Who is the director of finance? It's the director of finance. Should have swung into action. You are receiving funds month end of December. If really the ministry was serious with their submission, we would have seen a lot of correspondences prodding the Secretary to Treasury or the PS budget to give you the money is meant for the poor, so that this FSB program could take off on time, and unlike the money coming out on 29th December, it looks like you are seated. You are not doing anything. That's what we are gathering here. That's what we are gathering here, Chair. The poor people must be defended, and this committee defends the poor, including this house where you are today. So you cannot tell us you did something when there's nothing on the report. I submit, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Luma. You can proceed.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Chair, in my first question, I wanted the PS to tell this committee as to whether it was correct that from the initial funds released, the money for food security pack was not among. Because, like Honorable Mufaladi is saying, this ministry looks at the vulnerable citizens in this republic. And hence, it is not right that the ministry can be given money for the vulnerable at the end of the year. So I wanted the PS to provide proof before this committee that, yes, the money for food security pack was not released and was released in the 389.
PS, you can proceed and answer those two questions. As and when you want to delegate to your officers to help you, you can do that. You're allowed. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I'll delegate this one to the Director of Finance.
The Director of Finance, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. It's regrettable, Chair, that we did not provide the correspondence that we have had with Treasury on the release of funds. But maybe we would seek leniency or indulgence from the committee that we may submit the letters that have been written during the financial year. On the other item, Chair, the release of funds for FSP. If you take note on Appendix 1, the release was actually for FSP, the whole 389 million. So this was to facilitate of payment of contractors who have delivered to the vulnerables. Then the balance that was not spent was 3.7 million, which was returned into the following financial year. I submit, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mnyuma. You can proceed. Director of Finance, you can switch off the mic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. I would just also take this opportunity to introduce myself. I'm Mnyima Imanga, Member of Parliament for Nalolo. Controlling Officer, I'm on page 2 of this submission on this procurement of seed using limited bidding. I want to understand why you are using limited bidding when farming happens every year. You are saying this is an emergency. What is urgent?
Yes, Honorable.
The Director of Finance is now taking us away from the responses. He's talking of transporters. The response from the controlling officer is that the underfunding amounting to 443,717,225 was due to non-release of funding from Treasury during the year under review. The unspent amount of 3.7 million, 3,710,510 kwacha was a balance from the funding received on 29 December 2021 in respect of Food Security Pact. So where is the transporter coming in here? I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Director of Finance, I don't know. I think I didn't get you correctly. Maybe you said transporters. Director of Finance, you can proceed and make your submission. Honorable Amnima, apologies to disturb your flow of your question. We'll get back to you. Director of Finance, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I think I said contractors. That was my illustration. What it is, Chair, is that when contracts are signed, but you cannot pay the contractors basically before they deliver the FSP packages inputs. So from the 389 million, at the time it was being received, the contractors had already done the deliveries and the means was ready to effect the payments. That's why I find that the payments were done from the 389 million funding. Then the balance that remained on that funding of the 29th of December is the 3.7 million unspent. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Maybe Honorable Ferrari classify the way I've got him, if I got him correctly, is saying they funded them 389 million, and from that 389 million they paid their contractors for, is it FSP contracts or whatever. Then from there they remained with the balance, which is a 3.7 million, which was carried forward. That's the explanation I'm making. Maybe Honorable Mfarari can clarify your question.
Thank you, Chair. It's not answering to the query.
Yes.
The query is unspent amounts, and according to the answer, I'm just trying to put them in the right, on the right track for their answer. They are saying the unspent amount of was balance from funding received in respect of Food Security Pact. So the query was, why was this money not spent? Their answer is, it came on 29th December.
Thank you, Honorable. PS. The position is you received 389 million kwacha. Why was this balance not spent? Did you receive more money probably? What did you pay everybody under this FSP program? We can proceed.
I think, okay, I understand the question. Maybe I'll be guided if I'm misunderstanding it. It's actually on the way the contracts are paid. We will pay initially a 25%, and then when you deliver a 65%, and then we retain a 10%, which is then cleared once there are no outstandings. So in that, that is where we can have an unspent amount, because we have to retain something until we get to the end of the contract. I submit.
Thank you. I think we are settled now. We can proceed. Honorable Wamnyima, can you rephrase your question?
Thank you very much, Chair. I was referring to page 2 on the use of limited bidding. The controlling officer is submitting that this was because it was an emergency. But my question is, what is urgent about farming season? We know from now that next year we should procure at this time. So what is the strong motivation of undertaking a limited bidding process for things that can be done through open tender? Why can this procurement be planned? I submit, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Wamnyima. Honorable Mkosa.
Thank you, Chair. Controlling Officer, my name is Kalalu Mkosa, Member of Parliament for Chinsali. On the same issue that Honorable Imanga Wamnyima has posed you a question, you quoted the Public Procurement Act number 8 of 2020, section 37 and 42, which shows the conditions that read as follows. Limited bidding may be used where the goods, works, or non-consulting services are available from a limited number of suppliers, or there is an urgent need for goods, where works or services, and engaging in open bidding would be impractical. Do you have any form of evidence to show that the goods that you were procuring were only limited to a few number of suppliers or bidders? And that is the reason why you engaged in this kind of procurement. Thank you so much, Chair.
Honorable Lumai, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, just want to add a question on the Honorable Wamnyima's submission. Chair, I'm wondering why the ministry can go to a January 2021 ministerial meeting to go and use that minute as a defense mechanism before this committee, because as the honorable members have submitted, this was not an emergency. But the ministry went to a meeting which took place in January 2021 to use it as a defense to use this limited bidding. So I was wondering why this was a reason.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed. And also the one who's in charge of FSP, you can be nearby to help your PS. You can proceed and answer those. Procurement is there as well. You can proceed.
The use of limited bidding is not for the emergency, but for the availability of the open pollinated variety of seed. There is actually a letter in the appendix from the suppliers to just indicate that the number of people do not have it in the quantities that were required or we require. And that is even the reason why I think when you go to, there is another, where we go to why Zambezi ranching on the same questionable awards number 2, on page 4, you find that Zambezi were actually the only bidders for lots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7B. They bidded alone on 6 lots, just because of the type of seed. And it's actually something that is ongoing. Even in the current season, we do not have enough OP variety. Unfortunately, most of the seed that is available is not of that variety. I'm requesting for the head of procurement to assist.
Sure. Honorable Mfarari, then procurement, you come in.
Now, these minutes that we are being referred to, how genuine are they? Were these minutes done in January or they were done in October? If you got the last page where Pamela Chivonga, whatever, signed, it's dated 7 October 2021. Which one? These are for October.
We're dealing with Yes, Honorable Mfarari. We are dealing with 2021, 2022, financial year.
No, I mean the minutes, Chair.
The minutes.
The minutes are signed October 21st, 2021.
2021. Okay, let me just check. 2A.
Yes, and also the other person who signed the other side also had to change. So we don't know, you know.
Yes, well, that's January. This is January. Okay, I get what you mean, Honorable. Maybe the head of procurement can help us on that one. Because on the heading is 21st January 2021. Then I think the signature is I think, is it October? October and January, yeah. So there's a disparity in date there. It's 7 October 2021 and the other one is 7 January 20.
Yes, Chair. And Chair, if you go by the date there, it's 21st January.
25th, yeah.
21st January. The other one
January.
signed on
7 January. Yeah.
Then the other one 7 January. So
Yes.
which is which?
Yes.
Total confusion here.
So, Head of Procurement, we can proceed and also authenticate on this on these minutes. And you have those questions. I think PS has just answered partly of the 3 questions. So you can proceed and help the PS.
Thank you, Chair. It's true that most of the suppliers we have are very few on the market in terms of OPV that we wanted to procure from outside. This is why we use the limited bidding, because there were very few suppliers of this. Even now, actually, there's still very few on the market. That's why we use the limited. Now, coming to the minutes, this should have been a typo error. I think when we were signing, just a typo, I think what was. In terms of the dating there.
You are saying which one is a typo error? The one on the first page, on the minute, or on signing? Because what is written on the cover page of the minute, it's showing 2021, 21st January 2021. Even when signing,
there's a huge disparity, the Head of Procurement, like Honorable Mkosa is saying. First page, 21st January 2021. Then you go on the signatures, the last page, 79. You have Pamela Chibomba signing on the 7th of October 2021, and is it Munyao signing on the 7th? So 7th is earlier, 7th January again. So which one is which? Can you tell us which one is a typo? The 21, the 7, or the October? Honorable Amnuma, you had a question?
Chair, I don't understand when controlling officer and the procurement are saying there are few people with a seed, that's why you're doing limited. How do you know there are few? You've not opened. What is informing you to say there are few people when you are not opening it to the public? So what is the basis of saying there are few people when you are restricting the procurement to a few yourselves? What is informing that statement of saying there are few when you have not opened it to the public?
Thank you. Honorable Sabao, Honorable Daka, Honorable Mkosa, then Honorable Mfarari can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Just before we proceed, I would want to find out, was it advertised in the public media for you to have the limited bidding before we proceed with our discussion? Yeah.
Honorable Daka.
Thank you, Chair. I don't know, is it the Head of Procurement? Do you have a database of these seed suppliers or whatever suppliers were or contractors to prove before this honorable committee or to show this honorable committee that indeed there are limited suppliers for open pollinated varieties? I submit, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, when I asked the controlling officer a question, she said there is a letter from the suppliers confirming that they are limited bidders or suppliers who have the type of seed that they were looking for. So all this time I've been trying to think, to understand, to get the logic out of what the controlling officer has said, because I don't understand how you are an institution that is looking for an item, then the people to give you, they tell you, no. We are few. We are the only ones. You won't find it anywhere. But maybe she can just, before maybe we even talk much, she should guide us where that letter she's talking about is. I would like to know the appendix. Where that letter is. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Mufarari. Oh, no. I think let me ask PS first to proceed, respond to these 3 questions. And procurement, we are just be on standby with your submission. There are those 3 questions. Maybe before PS, I hope you wrote down the questions, because I wanted procurement to proceed and from my submissions, there are follow-up questions from Honorable Wamnyima. Procurement, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. We have a database in the ministry because people submit their documents for us to be put in the database. So we have this in our ministry in terms of having a limited number of them.
Yes, Honorable Sabah.
We want proof of the database they have for the suppliers.
Thank you. There's that your guided head of procurement. You need to provide the database. Auditor General can verify it. You can proceed now with your submission.
Now, as regards the minutes and the authenticity of this,
Yes, Honorable Daka can proceed.
Chair, why didn't they submit the aforesaid database during the time of an audit? We don't need it here now. We are not auditors. Where is the database? If at all you have at all you had the database, why didn't you submit it at the time of the audit? I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Auditor General, were you given the database?
Chair, thank you. The auditor on the ground is next to me. With your permission, maybe she may comment.
Yes, you can proceed, Madam.
Good morning. The database we were not given at the time of audit, and in this attachment, the submission is not there. But if it's available, we'll be ready to verify it.
Thank you. We can proceed. Head of procurement, we need that database provided for verification, but you can proceed and make your submission.
in terms of the minutes and the dates, I seek indulgence of the committee. Maybe we resubmit this document.
It's already signed. What is going to change when you submit, head of procurement? There's nothing which is going to change. This is submitted. Are you going to change who signed? Is that what you're telling this honorable committee? Say you're going to change signatures to make them now, you doctor them. It's not, I don't know what you mean by resubmitting it. But secondly, you haven't addressed Honorable Wamnyima's question. This direct bidding, what informed you? Are you telling us it's only Zambezi ranching in this country who can provide that cross-pollinated seed? We've seen your letter from seed. Is it Seedco? Yeah, Seedco, but it doesn't. Whatever it's called, Pioneer. But that doesn't qualify you to go to direct bidding. If someone says I can't provide this, then is that the evidence you can bring before this honorable committee? This is not evidence we want. It's not evidence we want. Because I say I can't participate in a bid, then you're going to tell me no, we did direct bid because the chair refused to bid that he can't manage. That's not the basis. Tell us why you direct bidded, and you've continued to do that as a ministry. You are head of procurement. You are conversant with Public Procurement Act number 20 of 2020. But that doesn't, even the reasoning you are giving here that it's allowed, you are just trying to find a proviso to use this law, but it's not. Abuse it to say. If you have 4 or 5 people are providing that this cross-pollinated, let them participate. If they fail, they failed. Then we know you tried. At least they did submit their bids. You can proceed and make and answer that question from Honorable Wamnyima and my question. Yes, Honorable Mfarari.
These submissions fall short of what it is supposed to be. This submission, head of procurement, it falls short of even the same issues that you are putting to us here, saying you single-sourced based on the articles that you have quoted. Is your ministry allowed to do a selective tender on its own?
To give a waiver, I think I saw something.
Do you give yourselves waivers as a ministry? Do you apply to the PPA for no objection? Because there's nothing on your whatever here. You have not applied to the PPA to seek for no objection. to do a selective tender or to direct bid. There is no ministerial minute here which you are claiming there. There are no people that, how many people constitute your ministerial tender committee? Who sat and said we'll proceed and seek no objection so that we can procure these? Where are those minutes? There are no people. This minute you are talking about, where you are talking about these, even if the dates are not the same, it's two people here. Your other ministries, they submit a proper document showing the heads of departments of the people that are in the ministerial procurement committee, and they sign to put a no objection before they proceed to seek the ZPP authority. So where are those minutes?
Thank you. Maybe while procurement is trying to find answers, PS, you can proceed and answer the three questions which were asked by Honorable Sabah, Honorable Daka, and Honorable Mkosa. You can proceed. Then the head of procurement, I want you to come back with answers with my question, Honorable Amnima's question, and Honorable Mfarari's question. PS, you can proceed. Yeah, PS, you can proceed.
Thank you. The advert in the public media, I would actually even still have to go to the head of procurement for that, say if we have it. On the minutes, I would actually seek to be guided, but I would say that Pamela Chibongo Kabamba had made a mistake, because if you go to the procurement paper, it's actually dated the 6th of January 2021. So she may have transposed figures. That is on when you look at the appendix.
But even then, Chair, point of order. Controlling officer. No, but
yes.
Chair,
okay, you can proceed. Proceed.
Even if she says there is a transposition of the dates, anyway, let her.
I haven't seen all those transposition as well, but I'll allow you to ask her after that. You can address Honorable Mkosa's question and Honorable Daka's question, then now authenticate these dates.
Chair, because what is there? Maybe she's not seeing the mistakes in these minutes. What is there, controlling officer, that your meeting, according to whatever, you sat on 21st January 2021. The minutes were signed on the 7th. If the 7th is January, then 2 weeks earlier the minutes were signed before they could be approved. That's what we are asking. Yes. So there is no question of transposition, but the question of whether these minutes are valid or they were just cooked up.
Thank you. Before Honorable you come in, PS, you can proceed and finish the two questions, then we'll get back to this item.
Chair, I'll have to seek your indulgence. Sorry, I think I have written Honorable Imanga's question wrongly. So if you can just repeat it.
Yeah, we're dealing with, I think Honorable Duck asked a question, and then Honorable Mkosa asked a question. Those are the two ones I want you to address.
On the database.
Honorable Duck, what was the question? Database? That one I think is, yeah. Honorable Mkosa's question, what was it?
It was on the letter that she said proves that there is no seat. She said it's in one of the attachments. So I was asking which one it is.
You've seen the letter for
sake of clarity and for me to know that the letter I'm looking at is the letter you're talking about. I would like you to tell me that this is the letter that is confirming that there was no seed anywhere else.
Thank you, Honorable Mkosa. Maybe yes, you can address that. Then we go back to the minutes now.
The letter I've been referring to was the letter from Panaseed Zambia Limited, and I think Honorable Mufalari has already pointed that out, that we cannot base the decision on just one letter from one supplier.
Thank you, PS. We've seen, I think this is the same letter we're talking about,
Yes.
where they're saying they cannot provide this seed. And procurement, first we said there's no basis. We can't accept this one. Then can you clarify if you had advertised this tender? There was a question from the Vice Chair. Then also the issues of these dates, PS. There's no transposition. We can't see that. Procurement, you can proceed.
Thank you. The tender was not advertised, but using the database at the office, that's what we use now to come up with the names of suppliers to be given the solicitation document.
Honorable Wamunyima.
Chair, I'm having a problem proceeding to ask, because the procurement and controlling officer are not giving us tangible. No, there's no letter from ZPPA. The database is imaginary. It's not here. The auditors didn't find it. You are saying you got from your database. Where is it? Then they are saying this company is the only company that has this seat, but they didn't open for tender. So I don't know what they're telling us. There are no minutes for the procurement meeting. There's nothing. Even these minutes, Chair, should not be in this file. They should be removed. They cannot submit minutes with different dates, 3 different dates. Chair, we need your guidance on how we can take position on this matter, because if there's no answers, we need to quickly take position.
Thank you, Honorable Wamunyima. PS, we're having difficulties to really comprehend submissions from your head of procurement and yourself, especially on this aspect, because procurement, what you are doing is wrong, and you need to help the PS even moving forward. How can you authenticate that we have no suppliers if you have not advertised? You are just relying on the database, which I don't know if it's there or whatever. People have submitted profiles to your office. You have a database. You are simply relying on the same suppliers and saying, if Zamseed or Panaseed or Pioneer hasn't got, they can't do this. That's not the basis. This submission, these appendices you provided are invalid. PS, they cannot be accepted. One, we can't base a judgment on 1 or 2 saying we can't supply, then nobody has in the country. That's why honorable members are saying, according to procurement procedures, advertise. You can even get increase your database from the advert. Say, oh, we have so much response. This has you won't even know others who can do that cross-pollinated seed. Unless you've got something you are not telling us, head of procurement. Is there anything you want to tell us which you have not submitted, which will qualify before we proceed? Because here we have nothing, there is no evidence, there is nothing appears to justify the action on this aforesaid query. There is nothing to justify. No reason has been submitted. Yes, Honorable Lumaya and Honorable Mfarari can proceed.
Chairperson, in addition to what you are telling the PS, anyway, I wouldn't use the language that the team of directors, they had intentions to do this, because the appendix number 2, which they have referred to, all the companies which are in appendix 2, they did not use them to supply these same items. And hence, their issue to say they didn't have companies to supply this commodity cannot stand, because we have got groundnut seed, medium maturing, we have beans seed, kabulangati, you know. So, in the appendix, Chair, all the companies which are there, they did not actually use them, they went for other companies. So there's no evidence that the companies which you used are the only companies which can supply this seed. So Maybe the way forward is them to apologize that they'll never do this again, so that we can make progress.
Thank you. Honorable Mfarari, you can proceed.
Chair, I think we are struggling here. Could we be guided properly? The submission is not in order from page 3, where they are claiming to have minutes held on 21st January 2021. They are not telling us whether this meeting really took place on 21st January 2021 and who was sitting in this meeting. There is no proof to that. They are talking of ministerial tender committee. Again, there is no proof to show that there was actually a ministerial tender committee and who attended and who didn't give any objection. And the same variety, open pollination variety, the head of procurement, there are institutions in this country that can help you to say you can get open pollination from this, from Zambia certified seed, whatever. They will be able to, Zari will be able to give you, but all that is not showing here. So in short, Chair, this part doesn't hold any water. It's neither here nor there. Actually, it must be expunged from the submission. Otherwise, it would render the whole submission invalid. Because look, 21st January, they have sat, their dates they are signing is 7, way before the committee could sit. So what was going on here? Sir, what was going on here? We can't accept this.
Honorable Mukumbi.
Yeah, Chair, in addition to Honorable Mfarari's submission, I'm looking at the numbering as well. It's like this was a very big document because even the second page is number 74. Then where they have signed is 79. So meaning it was, where's the whole document? Could it be that someone just put the first page, maybe they just put a date there to suit a submission. Therefore, Chair, I propose that they withdraw this particular Appendix 2A because it's misleading to this committee, Chair. Submit.
Thank you, Honorable Mukumbi. Through the PS, Head of Procurement, why are you misleading your PS? And what transpired? Like Honorable Mfarari has asked, what happened? Why are you misleading the PS?
Chair, even the PS wasn't chasing.
Misleading the committee.
It's the committee that is being misled. Him together with the PS. Because this is the document for the permanent secretary.
A PS should own a document. So why are you misleading us? Head of Procurement, you can proceed and answer that question. What transpired and why are you intending to mislead this committee?
That is why I was asking for an indulgence, so that maybe you can you look at this and submit the whole full document to give us a picture.
So PS, your Head of Procurement is proposing that you withdraw the document. You can proceed, PS, and apologize. PS, you can proceed.
I support the Head of Procurement. The document evidently is not at the right standard to be presented before the committee. And I apologize sincerely on my own behalf and on behalf of the management team. So we seek your permission to withdraw this document.
Thank you, PS. This document can be withdrawn. We'll have this document withdrawn, especially appendix. Is it to what? 2A, 2B, I think all those minutes. And so we'll skip, because this issue is looking at overpayment of, unless overpayment of supplies has got a different appendix, Or is it the same? Question about award of the bid over payment. Is it got its own appendix? The 3C, it's the same, huh? Okay. Okay.
Overpayment is on the next appendix, 3C.
So PS, what you do is you have to resubmit the whole lot of this food FSP. So proceed to women. We can go to page 6. So this has to be resubmitted. We'll proceed to page 6, which is Women Empowerment Program. So Secretariat, take note, they have to resubmit. Honorable members, we can proceed on page 6, Women Empowerment Programs, and disperse funds to clubs. Beneficiaries using same NRC cards. Then unapproved beneficiaries, Western Province, you can proceed as guided. And unacquitted inputs, Western Province, we can proceed. Honorable Piri, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Controlling Officer, on Women Empowerment Program and disbursed funds to women clubs, which is on page 6 of your submission, you indicated that the women's clubs on the Copper Belt submitted incorrect and inactive bank accounts which affected settlement of the remittances. Why did it take you so long? It took you more than 10 months to request the clubs to correct and activate bank details. Why? I submit.
Thank you. And PS, when did you realize that you had wrong bank accounts? When the Auditor General came, or when you were doing your disbursement to these clubs? Because when you have wrong bank accounts, then you are doing your disbursement, the funds will bounce back. Then you know these are wrong accounts. Or you only discovered when the Office of the Auditor General came. That is, I think, just to supplement Honorable Piri's question. You can proceed, PS. Director Finance, you can help the PS maybe. That is more related to Director Finance, or who's Director?
It's actually
Social cash
related
transfer.
to community development because it's actually under them. I was actually just asking him on the sidelines the thing for the 10 months because yes, when you do transfer the funds, they will bounce back. But we have a situation where some of the beneficiaries are actually in remote villages. So even for them to then get back to the district community development, they're like in sub-centers, it will be a while. But it's just that, of course, trying to see how we can justify 10 months is what the problem is. It is something that, yes, actually occurred, and it is something that needs to be corrected. Because unfortunately, we just need to improve on how we are managing those accounts, and it's something that has improved going forward because we are now automating so that the information will be able to get to headquarters sooner rather than later. I submit.
The Director of Social Cash, is it Social Cash Transfer? Community Development, can you make a submission? Can we hear from you? Then the two honorable members will come in, Honorable Lumai and Honorable Mfarari. You can proceed. Director Community Development.
Thank you, Chair. I think, like PS has said, the delay initially was that when the money was received, we're now putting in process the digitalization process, which meant that first we had to meet with the service providers, the various banks and the mobile money service providers. We agreed on the modalities on how this money was going to be spent. So all that took us a bit of time for us to start to disburse. But after we had disbursed the funds, again, when the people came to check on the ground what was happening, we realized that certain districts had not, the women clubs had not yet gotten their monies. So we had now again to get the correct information for us now to ensure that the monies, because this process was actually being done centrally with, for instance, I'll give an example like Zanaco would work with headquarters, then they would give instructions to their bank. If it's in Ndola now, they'll give that instruction because it was the bulk payment system.
Director, Community Development, did you appear before this committee last sitting? Were you here?
No, Chair.
Yeah, because what you are submitting is not even tallying with what your colleagues submitted. First and foremost, Community Development had funds seated for over a year, 21 million, 5 million with service providers, minus our people getting that money. And the reason was no wrong phone numbers, what? And we tasked them to go and ensure that that money is disbursed. Because imagine Zoona sitting with 5 million for 2 years. What are they doing with the money? What is the value for money? So your submission of saying service providers were changing, it's the same story, even last sitting, which were being given PS by this same ministry. The same story. How long have you been in the ministry, sir?
For 2 years.
Yeah, so and you didn't appear before us here?
No, it was a director then who was there, Director Kupukolo.
I still don't understand. Your submission is not holding water, because we did have this issue last time, and the same submission. No, we are dealing with this. PS, can we have can people work in these ministries and ensure that they do their work accordingly? Because there's our poor people there who need these funds, our clubs, far-flanked areas. Can we have a proper monitoring mechanism to PS? You're a former banker. These things, you understand them very well. You know these things. I think put up a system which can help the ministry to ensure that there's a back-to-back monitoring. As and when we're able to say this money hasn't gone in, together with also your Director of Finance, to ensure that we're able to monitor properly. Honorable Lumai, then Honorable Farad can proceed.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Chair, what I want to find out from the controlling officer is a justification, Chair, money sitting idle because people don't have bank accounts and the incorrect NRCs. So I have two questions, Chair. Number one, why have they submitted Appendix 5, which is for Luansha branch, and yet these women clubs are in Kitwe and Masaiti? Your bank statements are for Luansha branch. Number two, Chair, what I want the PS to help this committee understand is it true that this amount of 2.176 million was targeted for Kitwe and Masaiti only? Because we expect that when people are applying for these loans, it will be a bulk of women clubs where they need to choose from. So what motivated the ministry to wait for women clubs which did not have correct bank details to keep this money, when we have other women clubs on the Copper Belt, including, Chair, your constituency, because we're in the Copper Belt? So why was this the case? Just to restrict this money to Kitwe and Masaiti. Chair, I submit.
Thank you. Honorable Mfarari.
Chair, thank you so much. I have difficulties to understand what is going on here. Your response doesn't speak to what director you are telling us. Your response is that the cause of this was the ministry submits that at the time of disbursement of the funds, it was found that some women's clubs on the Copper Belt province had submitted incorrect and inactive bank accounts which affected settlement of the remittances. Where was this money being remitted from? Was it being remitted from Lusaka or from Copper Belt? Under which department? Was it Director Finance or it was Director Development, Community Development? So all those things, because if the PS tells us that it's this Director Community to answer, I don't know whether he deals with money direct. That would be a new phenomenon. But we want to know if it was being disbursed from the center, it must kick back, it will hit back immediately. It takes only this time, I think it's real time. Yes, you send the money. If that account does not exist, it will indicate on the system that this money is not coming through. It has not gone through, and you'll be able to know. And it's at that time that you should be able to take action. So if you take 10 months on a digital platform, you are able to tell it goes and it comes back, then you are still seated, 10 months down the line. I think there's no service delivery there. Then our people, they will suffer. And that is not acceptable, and that won't be accepted, Chair. We can't have a system that takes 10 months to deliver a service. When the money bounces back, they are seated for 10 months. Yes, that is not acceptable before this committee. So can they tell us why they sat? Where is the evidence of the money being sent and being bouncing back? So that this time around you can be able to tell. You on the system, you can even print it out. Say this money was sent and this is at this time it reached the bank and it came back. But now what you are telling us or treating us to is speculation where you are just saying the accounts were inactive and the monies came back. Where is the proof to show that money came back? Where is the proof to show that there was effort by the people on the ground that they managed to look out for those clubs? And when you are sending to clubs, these must be active clubs. These clubs must be active, and you are even going there, you know. The community development officer on the ground should be able to know where to find the chairman of a particular committee or club. And they should be able to talk to them. So if they are going to sit idle like that for 10 months until the auditors come, then it's unacceptable, sir. It's not acceptable.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Ferrari. Through the PS Director Community Development, I think there's that question. Where was this money being disbursed from? And when did you identify that the wrong accounts? Is it from the ministry before you disbursed? Then you went back, or you disbursed, then the money bounced? We want to find out. PS, through your PS, you can proceed. And also the issue of Rwansha branch, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. The issue of Rwansha branch, if the club has an account in Rwansha branch, it is in Rwansha branch. We would have to communicate with the club to find out why it's there.
Proceed, PS, proceed.
Okay, the money goes from headquarters into the districts, and from there into the clubs. So when it's bouncing back, it is at the district. And that is one of the areas maybe where we need assistance from this committee to be able to lobby for more accounting staff to actually be on the ground. Because yes, we can sit in this committee and think that there are competences, but they may just not be those competences. I would like to just also provide some clarity. Yes, the money that went for the clubs was 2.1 million kwacha. What remained and dispersed was 300,000. That doesn't make it any better, because there are still lives that are affected, that they were not able to start the program within 10 months. I submit.
Thank you, PS. I'm now at sea. Still, I'm not, I don't know, honorable members. The PS has given us a submission. Honorable Luma, you still have got a question. You can proceed.
Chair, the answer from the PS is not convincing me, because I wanted to understand why women clubs, which are in Kitwe and in Masait, will have their bank accounts in Luansha district, because this is not safe Luansha. So I wanted to understand whether this appendix number 5 was brought before this committee for the sake of evidence, or it is a correct appendix, because I know there's not safe in Masaiti. I know there's not safe in Kitwe. So why did all these women clubs go and open their accounts in Luansha?
Thank you. Any other question? Yes, Honorable.
Director, you must understand your geography and very well for you to answer some of these questions, and we don't want to answer for you. Do you know where Masait is? So why don't you answer to such a simple thing?
Yes, you can proceed and answer. Director, Community
You know where
Development.
Masait is, you should be able to know the proximity.
Proceed and answer. Help the PS.
Chair, what I can submit is that maybe there was just a problem, because what had happened was that we got the whole batch from the Copper Belt. I think what was being questioned were the women's club on the Copper Belt that was given to us.
Auditor General maybe can clarify if there's any clarification on that. There's no clarification. So basically, Director, you can switch off the mic. That's why I did ask the PS that I hope you've come with people who help you answer some of these questions. But we, honorable members, we don't have an answer to this question. This, I don't know. Yes, Honorable Mfarad.
Director, Masaiti is just next to Luansha.
That's the thing.
That's what you are supposed to say.
Yes.
Say if you are in Masaiti, such a problem should not, you should be able to say.
You can open where you want to open
It's
a bank
here
account.
or now. Why are you? Don't start bringing.
Masaiti and
Lying
Luansha. Actually, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Yes, PS. Honorable Mfarad, you can switch off the mic.
Okay. Chair, I'd actually said that if the ladies' club wants to open in Luansha, they can't be stopped. And it also has to depend on which part of Masait. You can actually find that for people walking, Luansha may make sense.
Yeah.
I submit, yes.
Thank you. I think that's our main issue. Our main issue and Thrive PS is not where you open a bank account, but it's a disbursement, the 10 months. I think that's where the bone of contention is. And that's where we want you to improve as a ministry. Because like you said, you can open a bank account anywhere, but the delay and PS districts in Copperbelt are not districts from far-flanked areas. You see, are districts where they're able to quickly say this has bounced. What remedial measures can we take now to ensure that this money is sent back? And also, I think also your ministry headquarters, you should have a robust mechanism to monitor. As and when they push a district, send us returns. If this money has been submitted, it's submitted. But and I think moving forward, PS, when you're coming to appear before this committee, bring in some of your district officers who are in charge of these districts, so that they can come and answer for themselves and tell us what transpires. Because you should have a community district officers from these districts. A particular districts, if they've got a query, but bring them. Let them explain why some of these things are not being done. We can proceed, honorable members. Honorable. Yes, Honorable
On the officials that are supposed to be here, where is the provincial community PCDO? Is it we call them PCDO? Where is he for Copperbelt?
Yes.
We've just been guided by the chair that in future we should ensure that they are here.
Thank you, PS. And even you officers who've been at the ministry for a long time, you need to help your PS and guide, because you've got particular queries which are affecting particular officers who are supposed to come and answer for themselves. We can give you an example for Minister of Agriculture. the provincial agriculture officers, they come. Particular provinces, if it's copper belt, they will come and answer because it falls under their jurisdiction. So that you can have spot on answers from that effect. Yeah, Honorable Amnima can proceed.
Chair, thank you very much. I'm on page 7 of this submission, and we're looking at issues to do with these duplicate NRCs. We are told that 563 beneficiaries in the same district using the same NRC number. Now, this query, Chair, I wanted to find out from the controlling officer. In her submission, she says the ministry has engaged the Department of National Registration to help in resolving the case of duplicate national registration card. This is a Home Affairs issue. Where is the proof of engagement? Do you have a letter? Where have you? Because it just says they've engaged. How have you engaged them? Is it by phone call or? Yeah, because the appendix here is from full FAO, does not talk about this appendix 6 you've attached. I just want to find out, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed.
There's actually a letter. We've been communicating with Ministry of Home Affairs. It is a thing, a lapse that we have not included it in here. And we've even gone to the extent of having an exercise where we got officers from Home Affairs to actually come for 2 weeks to just try and resolve all the issues with duplicated NRCs. So we have made some progress, but the process is it's still an ongoing process. If you would allow us maybe to then bring in the letter and the work that has been done, we can actually do that.
Yes, Honorable Daka, then Honorable Mfarari.
Chair, thank you, Chair. And if you look at the controlling officer's response, it's very clear, Chair, that it's a reactive. She was reacting to an audit query. Because if you look at the appendix 6, which she has referred to, or she has reference to, under FAO, basically she's agreeing to the problem and they're saying they intend to correct it. They are seeking for support from FAO. But why should the controlling officer be reacting to an audit instead of responding to the audit at the time of an audit? It was an afterthought, this one, Chair, because the letter is even dated 17th October 2022. Why should she react instead of her to resolve these matters within the time frame or during the time of the audit? Because the audit is a process. It takes some time. The whole process was exhausted. Thereafter, after having an afterthought, they applied to FAO to come and showcase that matter before this committee to say like they are working on it. But in actual sense, or in a nutshell, she was just basically reacting. I submit, Chairperson.
Honorable Mukumbi, then Honorable Amnima. Oh, sorry, Honorable Mfarari, you were earlier. You can proceed, then Honorable Mukumbi, then Honorable Amnima.
To find out the build up on their database. How do you manage your database for these beneficiaries? I thought you, as a ministry, you are given the names of people that are to benefit, and now you create a database and you know how much you are going to disperse. Do you do this? Do you create this database at the district level and they just give you the number of people that are supposed to benefit, or you as a ministry, you are given the names, you build up the database, after that, that's when now you disperse. And if that's the case, you are not supposed to come up with the queries like this. Because even in Excel, you should be able to say these numbers, this NRC is the same and we cannot pay. It should be able to sort out the numbers that are the same. We should be able to command it to say, the numbers, these are the same. But if you are using NRC numbers to verify whether these could be, you have put in the right numbers. But you have queries like these coming for NRCs, and then you are saying you go to Home Affairs. Why? Even before you reach Home Affairs, I think you have enough tools to sort out things like this, where you're able to tell this number and this one is the same.
Thank you. Honorable Mukumbi, can proceed.
Chair, I'm a little bit worried now. Looking at the number of people that are indicated in the controlling officer's response, 563 beneficiaries at different collection points are the same number. And you are also saying some duplication could have been due to human error. Already there's forgery here, Chair. If over 100 people have the same NRC,
Not possible.
surely as a provincial district social welfare officer or provincial, so they should react immediately and report such to the police. How can people, over 500 people, have the same NRC number? And as civil servants, you just keep quiet and just even continue paying them. How that? Did you report this matter to the police? Where so many people would have the same number. And you are ramping this on, the abnormality was due to duplication in the issuance of national ration card numbers by the Minister of Home Affairs. Surely, Chair, I'm failing to understand that. I submit, Chair.
Honorable Amnye.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, I just want to find out from the Office of the Auditor General if at the time of audit they found letters written to Home Affairs, they found correspondence written, because, Chair, this submission does not show any commitment from the Ministry to resolve this issue. There's no commitment. You're bringing a letter from FAO. It means nothing. Because this 563 could be fraud. And the submission, we are being told, sorry, it can't be sorry. It should be in the submission. There's no part 2 of this session. We have several people to hear. So I want to find out if this correspondence with Home Affairs, it is alleged that Home Affairs has given 563 people the same NRC numbers. We want to know how Home Affairs responded to this, because probably there's even no correspondence. I submit, Chair.
AG, you can intervene.
Thank you, Chair. If you look at Appendix 6, if you look at Appendix 6, we have there are letters that have been attached, except probably the letter that can be provided to the committee or for verification is one where the PS is engaging with the PS at Home Affairs, because these are at district level. The district community development officers are the ones that are writing the letters that are attached at Appendix 6, and this is probably because this is a very big national issue, so I think probably the PS can write herself to Home Affairs. I submit.
Okay. PS, we've heard the response from the AG. You have to write to Home Affairs for this issue, national registration. Honorable Amnye Lumai.
Chairman is very short. I want the PS, as he responds to Honorable Mukumbi, I want her to help this committee understand the 238 beneficiaries who got farming inputs in 2 different districts, how possible this can be, how human error can affect the system. 238 beneficiaries collecting farming inputs in 2 different districts.
PS, you can respond to the questions. I think we have 3 questions, or you can redirect the questions to the relevant officers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The one on the letters from the districts involving engaging the Home Affairs Department in the district, I think has been addressed by the Auditor General. Then the other one that, we have written as a ministry to Home Affairs, we will be able to provide that. And as the Auditor General says, it's actually a very big problem, bigger than what is seen here. On the 238 beneficiaries who got inputs from 2 different districts, unfortunately, we would have to interrogate this case by case, because they can be the human error, as in the case of duplicated NRC, and then we cannot also put aside that there can't be some crafty people who would then just go and register in 2 adjoining districts. This has now been addressed, or will be totally addressed, with the computerization that we've been talking about. At least then we'll be able to identify, and we have already been able to identify duplicates and NRCs and archive them. But it's an ongoing thing. It's not something that we can say that will just end, because unfortunately there'll be errors, and then there'll be people being devious. I submit.
Honorable Mai.
Chair, is it the submission of the PS that you are doing this manually and not computerized? Because, Chair, the PS is saying now that they are going to use the computers to compile these names, maybe this problem will be reduced. So I just want to understand if this was being done manually, that Mr. Lumai can register to collect farming inputs in Kitwe and goes to Serenja again, goes to register. I just want to understand if they were doing this manually.
Honorable Mfalari.
I had asked a question. I had asked a question earlier on. Actually, there are 2 points of order here. I had asked a question earlier on where I said, how do you collect your data? How do you create a database? Do you do it at the district and numbers are given to you, or you actually collect the real names and NRCs? You have not answered. We wanted to know. And you have not answered, in short, because we wanted to know. The second point of order, I think it has come from the people of Anjalikasa. They are wondering why you should say yours is shorter. He's saying mine is shorter, so they are wondering, people of Anjalika, what he means. I don't know.
Okay, PS, you can respond to the 3 questions from the members.
On the data collection, yes, there's actually a very manual aspect to it, in that people would actually go with questionnaires and collect the information. And then there would be records that would be maintained at the district level, at the sub-district level. But we are moving away from that totally, and we have already achieved quite a level of computerization. That's why we're able to identify that somebody has used a card in 2 different districts, and we are only going to get better.
Chair, there's money involved here, and asked a very simple question. Did you report this matter to the police the moment you realize over 500 people had the same NRC number? Simple question, Chair, hasn't been answered.
PS, can respond to the question?
There's been no reports made to the police in the relevant districts. We have reported at a national level to the Ministry of Home Affairs, and they are fully aware of what is going on.
Honorable Lumai.
Chair, now I'm at sea. It's like the ministry is not concerned with what is going on in the ministry, because such an issue where you have got people collecting inputs in 2 different districts and you know their names, you can't report to the police. Then, Chair, what I want to know from the PS is what is your role in this ministry, PS? Because you cannot allow such a situation to happen and you don't report to the police, and yet you are telling us that you are engaging Minister of Home Affairs. So what is the engagement, Chair, with your Minister of Home Affairs? I submit, Chair.
I think PS, what you need to do, if the activity took place at the district, you are supposed to engage the local leadership, the police, because when you talk of home affairs, that's at police level. But for those people to know who did what, it should be done at district level. Because at national, there's nothing that they're going to do. Whatever will be done at the district, that's what we submit to Ministry of Home Affairs, unlike the other way around. So however, you can respond to the question from Honorable Lumai.
Okay, I was going to just, well noted, Chair, and well noted. We still have the records. We have just archived them, and we will go ahead and open dockets in all the districts. I submit.
That's the best position, yes. Progress members, we can go to irregular inclusion of farmer input support program, page 8 and 9. Honorable Daka.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Controlling officer, in your submission, you stated that the cause of the problem at hand was that there was lack of interface between FSP and FISI programs. Controlling officer, what is the status on the development of a system to curb this duplication? I submit, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Daka. PS, you can proceed.
A lot of progress has been made. Currently, we have been able to identify people who have been like on both programs and actually remove them so that you're only on one program. We've even gone further to even just identify maybe people who are working and have put themselves and have managed to get themselves on the FSP. So there's a lot of progress that has been made with the identification, Honorable Daka. And we are looking at getting better at this as we improve with the digitization of the system. I submit.
Thank you, Honorable Lumai, can proceed.
Yeah, Chair, I just want to find out from the PS why officers who are not following regulations are being charged in November 2022, way after the audit. This is in relationship, Chair, to Appendix number 7, the case for Limulunga and Skongo.
Thank you. Any other question? Honorable Amnyima.
Chair, moving to page 11, if we have controlling officer 431 beneficiaries who are overpaid 567,300. What action has the ministry taken regarding these beneficiaries who are overpaid?
Thank you. PS, you can proceed with Honorable Daka's question, Honorable Lumai's question, and Honorable Amnima's question. Thank you.
Delay in charging the officers responsible. The ministry noted the oversight that there had been no action taken against the officers, and so that is when the administrative process began. We have now tightened up, and hopefully we will no longer have these delays, lengthy delays in progressing the charges. Then what's the other?
Yes, Honorable Amnima's question.
And then on the overpayment, I think there was lack of clarity. Those beneficiaries were on the database, but they were actually not paid. They were archived. So the position of the ministry is that it was not an overpayment. I submit.
Thank you. Director
Community Development.
Community Development, do you have a submission you want to make? You can proceed.
On the same thing, overpayment. Oh, it's social.
Maybe.
Oh, it's social cash transfer now, so it's social welfare. It's a different director now.
Maybe AG, you want to clarify something?
Thank you, Chair. I think the question by Honorable is the one on page 12. The one that is starting on page 11, and the controlling officer's response is on page 12. So it is a different one from the response
the PCS has given.
Because even the response here is different. I submit.
Thank you. PS, you are guided. Let me have the one in charge of social cash transfer. Who's in charge? Yeah, you can proceed and answer this question from Honorable Amnyuma.
Thank you, Chair. Just to build up on what PS has said, the other one on page
PS was submitting a different issue, so that's why I've said you give a comment, because PS what she submitted is different. That's what Auditor General said. Yes. This is the one pertaining on sharing same NRCs on page 12.
Yes.
Yeah, the 431.
Okay, so PS responded to the one on page 11, but now there is an issue on page 12 where we are saying that we had a manual system which we have been explaining, which we are using to pay beneficiaries of social cash transfer. So that system was not able to detect duplication in NRCs. I think that's how this may have occurred. But moving forward, as PS was saying, we have developed a robust Zambia integrated social protection system which actually detects duplication of NRCs. And even if there are 3, it will only pay 1, the rest will be dropped off and rejected. I think that is where we are, Chair. I submit.
When was that implemented, direct social cash transfer?
2021.
But if it was, but these queries are for 2021.
Yes, there was an element where we are migrating from the manual one to the online platform. So there was a bit of some confusion there where we are migrating the beneficiaries from one system, one old system, to a new system.
Honorable Amnyuma.
Chair, we have heard the submission, but our concern is that these people are overpaid, 567,300. So the issues of migration are immaterial. What have you done? Because this is overpayment and just enrichment. You have wrongly paid. And you even have another issue there where there are double payments to 68 beneficiaries who received a total of 136,800 social cash transfer fund from 2 different districts. So the concern, Chair, is not that we are now making things better. What has the ministry done about these overpayments?
PS, maybe you can clarify on that. Have you, if there's this overpayment, have you recovered the overpayment, or what has happened? You can proceed.
The recovery is almost impossible because of the level of vulnerabilities. These are people who survive on 200 kwacha a month. So for you to then go back and say that in the following month where you're supposed to get a 200 kwacha, we are going to recover the 200, we have not been able to effect it so far. But Chair, can I request the payment specialist who's sitting behind you to speak to this?
Yes, thank you. The payment specialist, you can come and take a seat here. Probably can take the one for Director Internal Audit. We'll call him when we require him. Then, Madam, you can swap with Director Planning. I want him there. Yes, Honorable.
The response by the PS is very, very disappointing.
Which response?
that they cannot recover because the people are vulnerable, and these people that are continuously receiving money. Look, when you do not pay social cash transfer, for example, for this month, you delay. When you be paying after 4 months, you pay even what you didn't pay, not so? Yes. So why can't you do the same? The subsequent months when you're supposed to pay, you pay less. I don't understand what she means by no, we cannot. Yes, we do understand they are vulnerable people, but there was a mistake that was made here. And this was made by your ministry. This mistake was committed by your ministry. Okay? There was a mistake that was made. It needs to be rectified. We lost money here, 567,000 plus 136. It's almost 700,000 kwacha. There are a lot of other programs that need to be financed by this government money. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, maybe you allow the specialist to speak, then you can. Over the PSC submission. Okay, Honorable Dak and Honorable Mkumbi, you can proceed.
Chair, I'm equally disappointed with the controlling officer's response. Recovery is a double-edged sword. There were officers who were involved in this very act of a double payment. If you can't recover, you are saying you can't recover from the vulnerable people, our people. Why can't you recover from the erring officers? Where are these officers? We want to know them. Chairperson, the PS cannot say it's impossible to recover. Then what is it doing in the ministry? Because honestly, there's a wrong which has been detected, and as such, there has to be a solution to that problem. PS, can you maybe, for lack of a better word, can you use any other word than to say it's impossible? You could have gone around this. Chairperson, I submit.
Thank you, Honorable Mkumbi.
Yeah, I was just wondering over the same. Controlling officer, these people are known. We know those that got double allocations. And they get their amounts of money depending on government funding, probably every month or every quarter. Why not skip those that got double allocations? It's as simple as that. They are known people. That has been common practice. If I receive double allocation, next month I want to receive. And continues like that. So you can't tell this committee to say it's very, very difficult to get back the money, or even, no. Where did this money go? Chair, we know what these social welfare officers do. I submit.
Thank you. PS, we have difficulties.
Okay.
I will allow PS to withdraw that statement and replace it with a befitting one. To say we'll find means and ways. PS, you can proceed.
I withdraw the earlier statement. It was misguided. I apologize. We are going to find ways and means to follow up and recover the money. So the next time you get a report from our ministry, we'll have made progress on that issue. I submit.
Thank you, PS. The specialist, you can proceed and make comment on that issue.
Thank you very much, Chair. The number 567 on people sharing the same analysis. These are not same people. They are different people from different places. And we did an analysis of this to see that these are not the same beneficiaries who are receiving the funds. So, Chair, in terms of duplicate, there was an extrapolation from the Office of Auditor General. When they see the number is duplicated, it's assumed that the person went to another place and got the money. But that's not the case. The case is that people are different, but they share the same analysis. I submit, Chair.
Yes, Honorable Wamunyima.
Chair, the
specialist.
The specialist.
The specialist.
Is making a new submission, and very contrary to the submission given by the controlling officer here. And you see, when you look at this, where he's saying these are different people, have you provided proof before this committee? And at the time of audit, the extrapolation has moved. Earlier it was an extrapolation on your own document. Now it's extrapolation with the Auditor General. We want to know, Chair, even through Auditor General, what the specialists are submitted. Is this the specialized information or what is, maybe Auditor General can guide us, submit, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Mkumbi had a question?
Chair, I wanted the specialist who provided this response to the PS to read his own response first before he misreads this House. May he be guided as such. Then he reads and then we can ask him questions.
Thank you. Before maybe the specialist comes with his specialized response, maybe Auditor General, do you have any submission? You can switch off the mic, Honorable Mkumbi.
Thank you, Chair. We stick to what our observation is. I'm still trying to understand what the specialist has indicated. Otherwise, I don't know what he's saying actually. But our observation is as indicated, and I'm just trying to get the earlier response we received at management late. So for him to say what the Auditor General did was, I'm lost, Chair.
The specialist, Honorable Mukosa.
Chair, as you tell the specialist to read the submission that he gave the PS, if what he's saying is true, why didn't he explain to the auditors at the time of audit so that he should have reasoned with the auditors? Because look, when auditors come, they don't come for which hand, okay? They don't come for which hand. They just want to ensure that money is used properly. There should be accountability in the way the public resources are used. So now you come here and you tell us, no, these are different people who share same NRCs. How possible can it be that you have people sharing the same NRCs but they are different and they have all been accepted on the program, in the system? Anyway, let's hear what you have to do.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Auditor General, what was the response at your...
Thank you, Chair. So the response was, the observation by the auditors is noted. It is true that during the period under review, shared identities existed in the order as social cash transfer management information system. To avert this problem, the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services embarked on the development and deployment of a newer and more enhanced social cash transfer management information system that would limit the use of NRC to one individual. Further, it may be noted that the migration of the data from the older social cash transfer to the new MIS, basically, so it's our submission, Chair, that what the specialist is saying, we are hearing it for the first time just now. I submit.
Thank you. The specialist, there are consequences to mislead this committee under Cap 12, which I think if you've appeared before this, I remember you in the last, you appeared before this committee, you should understand. Can you give us your response which you gave to the PS pertaining to this issue as a specialist sitting under this social cash transfer? We want to hear from you. You can proceed with those questions you've heard from honorable members.
Honorable Chair, I understand the gravity of misleading the committee, but I must mention that like I area submitted, these are different people who are sharing similar NRCs in different locations. And this is a problem that we are trying to address with the new Zambia Integrated Social Protection ZISPIS program. Initially, the MIS ACT could not detect people sharing NRCs, and payments would go just like that. And to that effect, we managed to come up with a system which would detect. But these are people in different places. I submit.
Honorable Ferrari, then Honorable Daka.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not actually coming in to ask much, but this system is one system that could not even read alphabetical order. That's what you're telling us. That you could not command it to put names in alphabetical order. Is that what you're telling us? There is a hand behind you, Chair.
Yes.
It has been rising up and down. So
the hand behind me.
Behind you there.
Yes, you can come and take a seat where there's
maybe
where procurement was sitting.
New.
You can come and you can go and sit there. Me, I don't understand this your system, PS, which will identify a name. What is the main identification? It should be an NRC, which should be the first thing to be identified. Honorable Daka.
Chair, where the committee is at sea now. Chair, NRCs can never be the same if people are coming from two different places or districts. You know very well. The numbers can be the same, but the codes are different. Like, for instance, Chair, you and I can share the same number, but there when there's a code for the district, it will never be the same. So what the specialist is trying to convince this committee to accept is unacceptable, because, honestly speaking, two different people cannot share the same NRCs unless they've colluded. I submit, Chairperson.
Thank you. PS wants to make a submission.
Unfortunately, the issue of shared NRCs is a real one. You are very fortunate if your constituency has not been affected. We've actually had quite a lot of members of parliament come through to follow it up for their constituency. The new system has clearly been able to pick up duplicated NRC numbers, even where there are different people. Like, you could find somebody sitting in Chinsali with one number, the other person is sitting in Kalomo with the same number. Depending on the data entry, the one that's picked up first will be on the program, and then the other will not be on the program. As a result of this, we had actually had a backlog of people with shared NRCs who we had stopped paying and archived. And it actually became a very big problem that to resolve it, we've actually had to engage Treasury so that we can pay them manually as we were paying before. I submit.
Yes, Honorable Farage.
I want to know, your response is like this, controlling officer. On page 12, under the table 3, the question here is, in addition, a comparison of social cash transfer beneficiary registers for 6.5 district review, that's 68 beneficiaries appeared on 2 district registers and were paid amounts totaling to 136,800, resulting in an overpayment of 68,400. Why are we going down to NRCs? The issue is beneficiaries who appeared in both. It's not, it looks like it's the same people. They are eating from one district and to the other, from the other. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. I'm at C now, Honorable Members. Maybe PSC can make a comment before Honorable Amnima comes in, or the specialist through the PS.
Chair, maybe I think let's the Auditor General just cement what they meant by this. Where you say beneficiary, is it different names, same NRC, or is it same names, different NRCs? I think then we'll be able to all be on the same page. Otherwise, everybody will be at sea.
There was a hand before AG comes in. That hand, can you clarify, tell us what is your submission?
Excuse me. Thank you very much, Chairperson. Riding on PS's submission, it's a regrettable situation, and indeed the situation may be bigger than the problem may be bigger than we think. As guided earlier, Chairperson, we engaged Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security, and there are so many records that we are dealing with, and I spoke to them earlier this morning, and they promised that they'll be able to share the report this afternoon, and that report is what will inform our next course of action, because really it's difficult, the hindsight, to make a decision, come up with a position on the matter in the absence of this report. So the report is what will guide our next course of action. I submit, Chair.
Auditor General, then.
Thank you, Chair. Just to respond to the PS, we've had engagements with the PS, and I would like to take the PS to page 11, Chair, through you. Yes. We set a criteria there. So if you check on page 11, we used the ministry's guideline. Social cash transfer guideline 6.3.3.1 stipulates that if a beneficiary shares the same national registration card number with another beneficiary, such a matter should be reported to the DSWO for verification to identify legitimate beneficiaries and remove those that are not eligible for the program. Our query is very specific. We are saying they are beneficiaries with the same national registration card, which the guideline says should not be the case. That is what we are submitting. Whether they had the same name, we are focusing on NRC because that is the key field. People are identified by a national registration card. So we are saying we have these people that are sharing this. And the criteria we are using to query this is based on the guideline as provided under 6.3.3.1. I submit.
Thank you. Honorable Mkosa.
Thank you, Chair. Controlling Officer, to add on what the auditor has said from the Auditor General, on the same page 12, they continued by saying, contrary to the guidelines, 431 beneficiaries who were entitled to be paid amounts totaling to 567,300 were instead paid 1,134,600 due to duplication of names and NRCs, resulting in an overpayment. So the 431 beneficiaries were supposed to be given 567, but this 567 was given 2 times, or in other words, double. Okay? So this is what the Auditor General meant. On the other issue, they indicated that in addition, a comparison of the social cash transfer beneficiary registers for 6 districts have revealed that 68 beneficiaries appeared on 2 district registers, meaning 68 beneficiaries were appearing on on 2 registers. For example, me, if I'm one of those 68, I appear on this register, I appear on another register. That's what they mean. Appeared on 2 registers, on 2 district registers, and were paid amount totaling 136,800, resulting in an overpayment. So these people, resulting in an overpayment of 68,400 kwacha. Meaning these people, they were supposed to be paid 68,400 kwacha. But in the actual fact, they were paid 136,800. So meaning these people were paid twice. They were paid double. This is the issue of contention here. Chair. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Amnima.
Chair, I'm really at sea because the ministry has given us 2 submissions. The first submission the controlling officer gave, which she withdrew, is that it's difficult to recover from these people. So she admitted before this committee that this error, by nature of human error, even in her report, she says it could be human error. Then the specialist has come and made the submission that these are different people. Now, Chair, I think this system needs a forensic audit, a proper audit, where definitely the government is losing money. It is only in the Ministry of Community where they are saying Home Affairs is giving people same NRC numbers. But during voting verification, the same beneficiaries are verifying their NRCs with the voters register. There's no such, these issues don't come up. So what happens during voter registration? Do they change the, so this chair, this system is defective. It needs a proper forensic audit, not just this audit, because it is not adding up. It can't add up, Chair. And the ministry has come to this committee with no submission from Home Affairs over this. It's a very big accusation you are giving to Home Affairs. It's very big. You can't say that Home Affairs has given 563 people same NRC numbers. That's what you're saying. That is what you're saying. And you have written to the controlling officer, Home Affairs. What has he responded? That is what would help this committee. But you've not come with that. So we are failing to comprehend. You've given 2 submissions conflicting, and you are not backing it up. So, Chair, this system is defective. It needs to be interrogated. There's a lot of happening here. Money is being given, and it's difficult to recover. We need to know what is happening in this. This money should go to the people. If there are officers creating fake IDs or what, we need to know. It's a forensic audit. I submit.
Chair.
Thank you. Honorable members, we have to proceed. Yes, Honorable Mkosa.
Yes, because look.
There's no answer to that effect.
Chair, at least if they can even give us a sample of the people that had 2 NRCs. Because this system, officers from government, they can actually steal the money by giving another person that he has a NRC.
That's true.
They can defraud the government. These same implementers of this program. Because we have not even seen, maybe you have an example of cases where we have you come with any? Show us. Show us 2 NRCs that have the same number from 2 different districts. Show us so that we get to have an understanding of what you're talking about. Because here we have seen this is 431 people. We also have now 68. So which brings the total to almost 499. So from 499, show us just 1 or 2 or 3 or any number that you have that these 2, they have the same NRC, but they are from different districts. Because this could be the system that they are using to defraud the government.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Daka, we need to proceed.
Chair, actually, Chair, on the 68, Chair, on the 68, it's the same people. It's the same people who are on 2 registers, on 2 registered from 2 different districts. So the specialist was claiming that it's different people. But this 68, if we narrow down on the 68, it reads, In addition, a comparison of social cash transfer beneficiary registers for 6 districts revealed that 68 beneficiaries appeared on 2 district registers, the same people, and were paid amounts totaling 236,800, resulting into an overpayment of 68,400. And yet the expert, we call it the specialist himself, was claiming that these are 2 different people. But this report has narrowed down to the 6 districts. Chair, we are not getting our befitting answers from these officers, and as such, would recommend just we make a position as a committee and record progress.
we need to make progress. Honorable Mfarari.
I think the ministry needs to work extra hard on these figures.
Yes.
Because we are being told that, at first we are being told there are 700 beneficiaries on social cash transfer. And with this kind of outlook, it means when we say we have 700 people on social cash transfer, we actually have 350. Meaning someone is benefiting somewhere.
Yes.
Someone is benefiting somewhere. And the pattern, my brother here was saying we can subject it to forensic audit. The pattern looks like there is conniving here. The other district is able to give the numbers to another one, say, pay these numbers, and I'll pay these numbers. So this is what is happening in your ministry, madam. There is conniving going on here. And even this 1 million, we are now pushing it to 1.3.
Yeah.
We'll sit at 600. And we are benefiting people, 600 people are benefiting, and yet the other half is going in someone's pocket.
Someone's pocket, yeah. Thank you. PS, there are all those sentiments and questions which beg answers, and we don't seem to be having answers. I'll allow you if you've got any other submission, but we'll take position on this aspect as a committee and proceed to other questions. So PS, if you've got any submission you want to rebut, you can proceed.
Just on this one, on page 11, I think we need to respect the work that has been done by the Auditor General's office. And if they have stated that from their audit, they found that 2 beneficiaries are sharing an NRC, we'll have to take that they actually checked. And that is what is in the Auditor General's report. On the statement that we remove those who are not eligible for the program, this was done in this year. We had removed a number of people, and it was something that I spoke about in the earlier submission. There are actually members of parliament who had people in their constituencies who were no longer on the program. And we have since sought permission to pay them manually because people have not been paid this year. And then on the issue of the 68 beneficiaries who have been paid in 2 districts, we'll go by the guidance that we got from the committee on the earlier submission. On this one, we're actually going to report the beneficiaries to the police and make recovery. I submit.
Thank you. Let's make progress, honorable members. We have no answers. We'll proceed to, I think, beneficiaries without NRC cards. It's the same. Payment not supported by disability or medical certificates. Transfers to beneficiaries, it's the same NRC, it's the same. And the answers are the same. Transfer to, okay. A failure to remove beneficiaries from the register. Maybe we can look at that one. Sorry? Failure to remove beneficiary from the register. Beneficiary is wrong classified as disabled. Honorable Mkosa.
Chair,
Do we have someone from internal audit from the ministry?
Yes, we have the assistant director.
Where is he?
Mr. Julius, where is he? Here. Yes.
Just correction, he's actually the director.
What's the director?
Yes.
They promoted you. I know him. He's my colleague. Mr. Director, you can sit where the madam is seated there. There are questions for you. The volunteers they volunteered quickly. Honorable Mkosa, you can proceed. The director, internal audit is there.
Chair, all these queries, the ones that we are from talking about, speak to the fact that the internal audit office is not doing much to help the ministry, to help the government and the people of Zambia. Why is it that all this has been happening and your department has not been revealing these relevant information? Why is it so?
Thank you. Internal audit, you can proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and thank you, Honorable Member, for that concern. Indeed, the revelations in the report are quite concerning, and the Ministry has been very concerned about them. And from the internal audit perspective, I would like to put on record that most of the issues have been consistent with the internal audit findings. The revelations by the Auditor General, we have reports that also speak to some of these issues. However, I wish to bring to your attention, honorable members, that the challenges of the Ministry of Community Development are twofold. There's an aspect to do with systems and an aspect to do with the human resource. On the system front, I think it has been belabored that the systems that the ministry has been using were predominantly manual. And to that extent, you have these inherent challenges with the systems. And what has been done about that, we have the new systems that have been deployed, of course being deployed in a cautious manner so that we don't disrupt service delivery, as it were. On the people front, we have a huge challenge, honorable members, on the aspect that, first of all, the staffing levels are quite lean, and that it's not an excuse, but it's also worth noting that we do not even have accounting officers in the districts, which is also a challenge in terms of following up and managing some of these obvious issues. But we've not sat back, honorable members. What we've done as a ministry is that we are deploying digital systems, enterprise resource systems, such as the Navision, which will help us in terms of real-time monitoring of these issues. I must also indicate, honorable members, that the staffing complement for internal audit is very lean. We are only about 5 of us, and we have to traverse the length and breadth of the country with more than 1 million beneficiaries that we have to deal with. We've done our part, and our reports actually could speak to that, to confirm that efforts have been made. But like I've mentioned, I think it's an issue of systemic issues, historical issues coming from the system, and also in terms of the human resource deficiencies in the ministry. Of course, I know that there's been a lot of intervention, and we are seeing some improvement in terms of the numbers. But having said that, honorable members, it's not an excuse. I think we endeavor as a ministry to do better. There is some effort for continuous improvement. And also, I think the funding issues equally played in terms of some of these queries. So in summary, I think most of the issues, the ministry is aware about them, and we've been making efforts to improve systems, as it were. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Internal audit. Any further questions, honorable members? Honorable Mfarari.
Me, I'm still wondering in terms of the districts that are involved seem to be the same. Be it on NRCs, the people without NRCs, and let me say the provinces. This is happening in Copper Belt, Eastern, Western, and Central. Why is it not that in other districts in other provinces it's not happening. There must be something fishy here. Why is Southern missing? For example, it's not there. It means you don't have someone. And this provincial development and the social cash, social, what do they call them? Provincial social welfare officers. They must have been here so that they can tell us what is going on here. We can't have, Kapiri is common here. In everything, it looks like you find they have duplication of NRC. Kasenengwa is common. So why are you still keeping those people that seem to be giving you problems in Kasenengwa, in Kapiri, Kitwe, and Ndola? Why are you still keeping them or controlling?
Even as we are appearing.
Because, yes, you are the people.
Thank you. PS, I'm guided by Auditor General that they were doing sampling in some of these provinces moving forward. PS, is there any submission you have pertaining those issues which have been highlighted before we proceed?
Well, just to re-emphasize on what the Auditor General has said, and hopefully what the auditor has said. Sorry, what the internal auditor has said, and would like to just assure the committee that going forward there should be a difference in what the Auditor General will find. We are very aware of the lapses that have been there with the system, and we're just not putting in a new management information system for to run the programs. We are also using a new accounting program which will be able to view transactions in real time. And we are also tightening control as well on the staff. And to just encourage committee members that it's a team effort for us, and we as a ministry are committed to working as a team, and we need support from all of you, particularly in your constituencies. Please be able to pay attention to what is going on or what is not going on. That is very, very important. Let us not wait until the next audit report. And then for our staff, yes, we are going to tighten up, and we are already tightening up on monitoring. But even for that, we need support from yourselves. It is not it is not as simple as it sounds. The country is very vast. And we are actually looking at some places, okay, not the sampled places, but some places like are actually very far, over 1,000 kilometers away. So hopefully going digital is going to be able to make a huge impact. We actually hope that we don't have to appear before you again.
You're still coming back, PS. Thank you so much, PS. Honorable members, we proceed. The issue of unsupported accounting irregularities, unsupported payment, and acquitted funds, PS wants you to improve on that. That's administrative to that effect. Where's the Director Finance? Director Finance, that is your area. Can we have these payments supported fully? And these are payments totaling 59,000 kwacha. As and when the Auditor General will be doing a verification, this needs to be also verified that it's been corrected, and we don't want to see that. So we're not going to dwell so much in these two. Unacquitted funds, they should be acquitted. It's simple and straightforward. PS, and make sure that these your officers, your Director Finance, your Director Social Cash Transfer, your Director Community Service are equal to the task, and they ensure that they help you to implement the much needed. Ministry of Community Development is a big ministry, and it plays a very important role in this country. So it is important that these things which the honorable members are struggling to understand, myself too struggling to understand, the issue of FSP, will be revisited. I want Auditor General to do a verification of what is being submitted, and we want fresh submissions. Where is the procurement? We want a fresh submission done. There is a verification. The issue of social cash transfer, there are a lot of gaps. I also want Auditor General to do a verification. What you are supposed to provide, the database, the printouts, whatever it is that will support them to verify the position on all these duplication of NRCs and what. Because what you are simply saying, you are saying that the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Internal Security are doing something wrong. They are duplicating these NRCs as they are issuing, which should be verified, and I think we should ensure that the culprits or whoever is committing such anomalies are meted with punishment to that effect, because government should not lose funds, PS. And we want your ministry to improve, because what we're looking at last year and this year, they are the same issues which are emanating from your ministry. And we don't want lame excuses before this committee to say no, Public Procurement Act allows direct bidding. That's a lame excuse. We want things to be done properly in that fashion. Procurement, I want you to sit back where the social cash transfer is sitting, the person in charge, the specialist. Yes, who advisor? Yeah. Madam PS, accountability are very important issues for this committee. We are here for the Zambian people. You are people conferred with duties to appropriate money on behalf of those poor Zambians who need social cash transfer. And it's very important that these your officers, your their directors are equal to the task. They shouldn't mislead you. They shouldn't mislead this committee. They should help the country to that effect. So we implore you, even as you proceed with this overseeing the operations of this ministry, which is a big ministry, that people are equal to the task. Our role as a committee is to provide oversight to the executive and ensure that there is proper service delivery to the Zambian people. Honorable Mfarari did allude to the fact that we are increasing social cash transfer from 900 to 1 point. I've seen it also from about to a million plus. But with these gaps, it's a malaise, because we are not going to achieve that if we have these gaps highlighted in this Auditor General's report. So it's important that we put our house in order. We are not here to demean you or to make you look like you don't know what you are doing. We are here to work together. We are here to ensure that when you perform, we are happy also. When the ministry does better, we are happy also, because by that fact, our people in constituencies, they are benefiting. I've got a lot of questions. People send me questions about social cash transfer. But sometimes you can't even provide those questions. But we are having such queries, such gaps. We cannot, there's no confidence. We start now wondering what is happening in the ministry. So it's important, we know you are equal to the task, and what we are doing is we are encouraging you to ensure that you put your house in order, so that you don't appear before this committee, like you said yourself. If you don't appear, then you are doing well. If you appear, you are a client from now again coming, then we know there's something wrong happening. There are a lot of gaps. So take this as our recommendation and the position of the committee. So we want those two aspects verified by Auditor General. As you go back, it's not business as usual. Mr. Specialist, we want that specialization to work for the ministry. You are not called specialist just for the sake of being called specialist. We want this. We want improvement, PS. PS, if you are not performing and you feel certain people are drawing you back, send them to other ministries, because they're not helping you. They're not helping us. They're not helping the Zambian people. Yeah. So and we don't want to transfer problems.
Where you want to transfer problems?
We take them out of the system. so that we can have sanity. Yeah, we take them out of the system. We recommend that they're out of the system so that we can have sanity.
Where people can't really classify a disabled person.
Then why are they there?
No. You pay someone who is not disabled.
Why are they there, PS?
No.
At the expense of a disabled.
Imagine. So, PS, we thank you most sincerely, but your team has not done justice to this committee. We've got a lot of hanging questions, so we'll advise how as and when you provide the information for verification to the Auditor General. We thank you most sincerely for coming through this committee to appear before our committee, and we can only encourage you that you put your house in order. Thank you so much, and let me take this opportunity now to lift the immunity which was conferred before you. That is been lifted, and you are free. Whatever conversation you have outside, you're on your own. Thank you so much, and have a good afternoon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, committee members. We are definitely going to take your advice.
Thank you.